She told me something once that I never forgot. She said, "He didn't say anything special. He didn't do anything grand. But when he touched the small of my back while we walked through that crowded restaurant, something inside me just settled." She paused. Then she said, "No man had ever made me feel that safe with one hand." And that's the thing most men will never understand. You think she's waiting for the right words. You think she needs the perfect compliment, the poetic text message, the romantic line delivered at just the right moment. And maybe that worked once. Maybe when she was younger. Maybe when she still believed words were enough. But a woman who's lived a little. A woman who's been told, "I love you" by someone who didn't mean it. A woman who's heard, "You're beautiful" from a man already looking at someone else. Words stop landing. They just do. After a certain age, after a certain number of disappointments, a woman's nervous system stops responding to language the way it used to. She's heard it all. The sweet things, the clever things, the charming things, and none of it protected her. So what actually moves her now? What gets past her guard, past her logic, past that wall she built with good reason? Touch. But not just any touch. Not the clumsy grab. Not the nervous pat. Not the overly eager hand that arrives before trust has even entered the room. There is a specific kind of touch that bypasses everything. It skips past her thinking mind and lands directly in her body. In her nervous system. In the part of her that decides whether you are safe long before she ever makes that decision consciously. There was a study done on emotional communication through touch. Researchers found that people could identify specific emotions through touch alone with 78% accuracy. No words. No facial expressions. Just skin on skin. And the brain decoded it almost instantly. Faster than language. Faster than logic. Faster than anything you could ever say out loud. Her body knows before her mind does. That's the part most men miss entirely. Some touches create attraction in seconds. Deep, quiet, almost magnetic attraction. The kind she can't explain to her friends. The kind that makes her go still and think, "What just happened?" But other touches, they destroy it. Immediately. Permanently. One wrong pressure. One wrong timing. One moment where the touch feels like it's taking something instead of offering something. And she's done. Quietly done. You won't even know it happened. She'll smile. She'll finish the date. But inside, a door just closed. And it won't open again. That's what we are really talking about here. The silent language that most men never learn to speak. 7 specific touches. Each one psychologically powerful. Each one emotionally precise. Each one capable of creating the kind of connection that words never could. Let me show you why this works so deeply. Humans are wired for this. Long before we had language, before we had poetry or love letters or text messages, we had touch. It was the first language. The original language. The one your body still speaks fluently even if your conscious mind has forgotten. When someone touches you in a way that feels safe, your brain releases oxytocin. You've probably heard that word before. It's called the bonding hormone. But that name doesn't capture what it really does. Oxytocin doesn't just make you feel warm. It lowers your cortisol. It calms your nervous system. It tells your body, on a biological level, that you are not in danger. That you can stop scanning. That you can stop protecting. That for this moment, right now, you are held. For a woman, that is everything. Because most women walk through the world in a low-level state of alertness that they don't even recognize anymore. It's just normal to them. Scanning the room. reading faces, measuring energy, deciding in the first 10 minutes whether someone is safe or not. And most of that decision happens below the surface. She's not sitting there with a checklist. Her body is doing the math. And touch is the fastest input her body processes. This is why women don't fall in love with what you say. They fall in love with how you make them feel. And the deepest feelings don't come through words. They come through physical emotional presence. Through the hand that communicates something the mouth never could. Safety. Not in a dramatic way. Not in a protective, aggressive way. In a quiet way. In a way that says, I'm here. I'm paying attention. You can relax. Protection. Not from danger. From the exhaustion of always being on guard. From the weight of always reading the room alone. Attention. Real attention. The kind that's felt, not performed. An emotional presence. The rarest one. The one that tells her nervous system, this person is actually here. Not distracted. Not performing. Not pretending. Here. Certain touches communicate all of this without a single word. And when a woman feels it, she doesn't analyze it. She doesn't think about it logically. Something shifts inside her. Something softens. Something opens. And she moves toward you. Not because you convinced her, but because her body told her it was safe to. That's the foundation. That's what makes everything that follows actually work. Now let me show you the first touch that changes everything. The first touch that creates deep attraction is the lower back guide. Picture this. You're walking into a restaurant together. The host turns to lead you to your table. The room is crowded. There's noise, movement, people shifting in their chairs. And in that small moment of transition, your hand finds the lower part of her back. Not her shoulder, not her arm, the lower back. And you guide her gently forward. Or maybe you're at an event, a party, a gathering with too many people and too much noise. And as you move through the crowd together, your hand rests there. Steady, calm, present, not pushing, not pulling, just there. That one gesture does something most men never realize. The lower back is one of the most sensitive nerve areas on the body. It's not just skin. It's a region dense with nerve endings that respond to pressure, warmth, and intention. When your hand lands there with the right energy, it activates what psychologists call a protective bonding response. Her nervous system reads it as safety, as guidance, as someone who is leading without controlling. And that distinction matters more than you think. Because most men do this wrong. They give her a quick tap, like they are signaling a teammate, like they are saying, move along. It's rushed. It's mechanical. It has no warmth in it. And her body registers that immediately. That tap doesn't say protection. It says impatience. It says nervousness. It says you're going through the motions without being present in them. Or worse, they push. Not hard, but enough. Enough for her body to feel controlled instead of guided. And the moment she feels that, something tightens inside her. A wall goes up. Quietly. Invisibly. But it goes up. The touch that works is slow. Confident. Unhurried. Your hand arrives and stays. It doesn't grab. It doesn't press. It rests. With warmth. With weight. With calm authority that communicates one thing above everything else. I've got you. A woman told me once about a first date she went on. She said the man wasn't the most attractive man she'd ever met. He wasn't the funniest. He didn't say anything particularly clever. But when they walked into the restaurant and his hand found her lower back, she said her whole body exhaled. She said, "I didn't even know I was holding tension until he touched me and it left." That's what this touch does. It doesn't excite her. It settles her. And for a woman who carries tension she's forgotten she's carrying, that feeling is more powerful than any compliment ever spoken. The next touch is even more powerful. The two-handed hand hold. Not the regular hand hold. Not the casual interlock of fingers while walking down the street. That's fine. That's nice. But it doesn't create what this creates. The two-handed hand hold is when you take her hand in both of yours. Both hands. Wrapping around hers. Holding it like it matters. Like her hand is the only thing in the room worth paying attention to. Imagine this. You're sitting across from each other. She's telling you something. Maybe something vulnerable. Maybe something she doesn't usually share. And instead of just nodding, instead of just listening with your ears, you reach across and take her hand. With both of yours. Or maybe it's a quiet moment. No deep conversation. No dramatic confession. Just a pause. A breath. And your hands find hers and hold on with both. There's a psychological concept behind this called bilateral stimulation. When both sides of the body are engaged simultaneously, the brain processes it differently. It reads the input as complete, as whole, as fully present. When both of your hands hold one of hers, her brain doesn't just register a touch. It registers total attention. And that's the emotional message. I am fully present with you. Not halfway. Not with one hand on my phone and one hand on you. Not glancing at the door. Not thinking about something else. Fully. Here. Do you know why mature women respond so strongly to this? Because they have lived the opposite. They have sat across from men who were physically in the room, but mentally somewhere else entirely. Men who held their hand while their eyes wandered. Men who said the right things while their energy said nothing. A mature woman has felt what it's like to be with someone who isn't really there. And she has felt how quietly devastating that is. So when a man holds her hand with both of his, something inside her recognizes the difference immediately. Her nervous system says, "This one is here. This one is actually here." And that recognition creates a bond that goes deeper than words ever reach. Tell me in the comments. What usually shifts first for you when someone is truly present with you? Is it something they say? Or something they do? Now, the next touch is the one that surprises most women. The forehead connection. Picture the moment. You're close to each other. Close enough to feel warmth. Close enough to hear breathing. And instead of kissing her, instead of pulling her in for something more, you lean forward. Slowly. And your forehead touches hers. Just rests there. Eyes open or closed. It doesn't matter. What matters is the stillness. The quiet. The pause that says more than movement ever could. This is an attachment bonding moment. Psychologists who study attachment behavior in humans have found that forehead-to-forehead contact activates deep bonding circuits in the brain. The same circuits that fire between a mother and an infant. The same circuits that tell the nervous system, you are connected. You are not alone. And here's why it works so powerfully. It requires closeness. You cannot touch foreheads from a distance. You must be close. Vulnerable distance. Breathing distance. The kind of distance that most people avoid because it feels too real. It requires vulnerability. There's nothing to hide behind when your forehead is touching hers. No clever words. No smooth moves. No performance. Just you. Present. There. Unhidden. And it requires slowing down. You cannot rush this moment. If you rush it, it breaks. The power lives in the pause. In the stillness. In the willingness to stop everything and just be there with her. The emotional message is devastatingly simple. I'm here with you. Not ahead of you. Not behind you. Not performing for you. Here. With you. Emotionally intelligent men do this naturally. They don't calculate it. They don't plan it. They feel the moment slow down and they follow it. They feel the space between them shrink and they honor it. They let the quiet exist without filling it with words or action. And the woman who experiences this never forgets it. Because in a world that moves too fast, in relationships that rush past every meaningful moment, this touch says something her soul has been waiting to hear. Stay. Right here. With me. Now we move to the touch that creates both attraction and trust at the same time. The back of the neck. This is where everything shifts. This is where touch stops being just comforting and starts becoming something electric. Something that lives in the space between safety and desire. Something that speaks to a part of her she doesn't show most people. The neck is one of the most vulnerable areas on the human body. Biologically, it's where major arteries run close to the surface. It's exposed. Unprotected. And because of that, the nervous system treats it differently. Touch on the neck doesn't just register as contact. It registers as access, as permission, as trust that has been earned, not assumed. The back of the neck specifically carries one of the highest concentrations of nerve endings on the body. When fingertips brush the back of her neck, when your hand rests there with gentle confidence, her body responds in ways she cannot control. Her heart rate shifts. Her breathing changes. A warmth spreads through her that starts at that exact point and moves through her entire system. This is where arousal and trust intersect. And that intersection is critical. Because arousal without trust feels dangerous to a woman's nervous system. It puts her on alert. It makes her pull back. It triggers the part of her brain that scans for threat. But when trust is already established, when she already feels safe with you, arousal becomes something different. It becomes surrender. Willing, conscious, chosen surrender. And that is the deepest form of attraction a woman can feel. But here's the warning that matters. This touch only works after trust is built. If you reach for the back of her neck too early, before she's decided you're safe, her body won't melt. It will tighten. It will recoil. Not dramatically. Not visibly. But internally, something will close. And you may never get that door open again. Timing is everything. This touch belongs in quiet moments. Sitting close together. Leaning into conversation. A pause after laughter when the air between you changes temperature. When the space between you has already become intimate, even if nothing physical has happened yet. That's when your fingers find the back of her neck. Lightly. Slowly. As if you're reading the moment instead of forcing it. And when the timing is right, she won't pull away. She'll lean in. She'll close her eyes for half a second. She'll exhale in a way that tells you everything you need to know. That exhale is her body saying yes. Not to anything specific. Just yes. To you. To this moment. To the fact that she feels safe enough to let you touch the part of her she instinctively protects. The next touch is so subtle most men don't even realize its power. The thumb stroke. This one is quiet. Almost invisible. You could do it in a room full of people and nobody would notice. But she would feel it in every cell of her body. Here's the scenario. You're holding hands. or your hand is resting on her arm, or you are sitting together and your fingers are intertwined. And while everything else stays still, your thumb moves. Slowly. Back and forth. A gentle, rhythmic stroke against her skin. That's it. No grand gesture. No dramatic movement. Just the soft, deliberate motion of your thumb against her hand, her wrist, her arm, and it changes everything. There's a specific type of nerve fiber in the skin called C-tactile nerve fibers. These nerves don't respond to all touch equally. They respond specifically to slow, gentle, stroking touch. The kind that moves at about 1 to 10 centimeters per second. The kind your thumb naturally produces when it moves across skin without hurry. When these nerve fibers are activated, they send signals to a very specific part of the brain. The insular cortex. This is the emotional bonding center. It's the area responsible for processing how we feel about other people. Not what we think about them. How we feel about them. And when the insular cortex lights up, it creates a sense of connection that feels deep, natural, and almost impossible to explain. She won't think, his thumb is moving and it's activating my C-tactile nerve fibers. She'll just feel something. Something warm. Something that makes her want to stay exactly where she is. Something that makes the moment feel sacred without being dramatic. And here's why mature women notice this particular touch more than anyone. Because a mature woman has learned to pay attention to the small things. She's learned that grand gestures can be performed. Flowers can be bought without thought. Dinners can be reserved without feeling. But the thumb stroke, that can't be faked. It's too subtle, too quiet, too intimate to be performed. It comes from a man who is genuinely present, genuinely connected, genuinely feeling the moment instead of managing it. When a woman feels that slow stroke, she knows. She knows without analyzing it. She knows without questioning it. This man is here. This man is paying attention. This man is touching me not to get something from me, but because he feels something with me. And that knowing creates a bond that runs beneath the surface of everything. Now we move to a touch that changes emotional distance instantly. The silent pull. Imagine this. You're sitting together on a couch. Maybe watching something. Maybe just existing in the same space. There's a small gap between your bodies. Not a large one. Just a few inches. The normal distance that two people maintain when they are still figuring out how close they are allowed to be. And then, without saying a word, you reach over. Your arm. Your hand. And you pull her slightly closer. Not dramatically. Not forcefully. Not with urgency. Just a gentle, confident pull that closes the gap between you. Or you are standing side by side somewhere, looking at something together, and your arm goes around her and draws her in. Just slightly. Just enough for her to feel the shift. This is rooted in attachment theory. Psychologists call it proximity seeking. It's the instinctive drive to close physical distance with someone who represents emotional safety. When you pull her closer, you're not just moving her body. You're communicating a psychological message that lands directly in her attachment system. The message is simple. I want you closer. Not I want something from you. Not I want to escalate. Just I want you closer. And the simplicity of that message is what makes it so powerful. Because here's what many men don't understand about women. Many women walk through relationships feeling like they have to earn closeness. Like proximity is something that must be deserved. Like they need to be interesting enough, attractive enough, good enough to warrant someone pulling them in. The silent pull removes that pressure entirely. It says, you don't have to earn this. I'm choosing it. I want you here. Not because you performed. Not because you proved something. Because your presence is what I want. For a woman who has spent years unconsciously auditioning for closeness, this touch is revolutionary. It rewrites something deep inside her. Something that was taught to her long before she had the language to describe it. And the silence is what makes it land. No words. No explanation. No come here. Just the movement. Just the pull. Just the quiet declaration of desire that doesn't need to be spoken to be understood. But the final touch is the most powerful one of all. The long hold hug. Not the quick hug. Not the pat on the back hug. Not the one-arm side squeeze that says hello and goodbye in the same gesture. Not the polite hug that exists only because two people don't know what else to do with their bodies. The long hold hug. The one that lasts. The one that stays. The one where you pull her in, and you don't let go after 3 seconds. You hold. And you keep holding. For 10 seconds. 15. 20. 20 seconds. That number matters. Research on physical affection has shown that hugs lasting at least 20 seconds produce measurable changes in the body. Oxytocin releases in amounts significant enough to shift emotional state. Cortisol, the stress hormone that keeps the body tight and the mind spinning, begins to drop. Not slightly, measurably. But the changes don't stop at chemistry. Her heart rate slows. Not because she's tired. Because her nervous system is receiving a signal that it's safe to decelerate. Her breathing deepens. Her muscles begin to release tension she didn't even know she was holding. Her body, which has been in low-grade fight or flight for hours or days or weeks, finally gets permission to stop. And her emotional walls, the ones she built carefully and deliberately, the ones that protect her from disappointment and betrayal and the quiet devastation of being let down by someone she trusted, those walls soften. Not because she decided to lower them. Because her body lowered them for her. That's what a 20-second hug does. It bypasses her conscious defenses and speaks directly to the part of her that desperately wants to be held, but has learned it's safer not to ask. Relationship therapists know this. Many of them prescribe long embraces as a daily practice for couples who have lost emotional connection. Not talking. Not processing. Not working through issues with words and logic. Just holding. Just standing in each other's arms and letting the bodies do what bodies were designed to do. Reconnect. And it works. Not because it's magical. Because it's biological. Because the human body was built to bond through sustained physical contact, and when it receives that contact, it responds with a depth that the thinking mind cannot replicate. Now, why does this matter even more for a mature woman? Because a mature woman carries weight that she rarely shows. She carries the emotional labor of relationships that didn't work. She carries the exhaustion of being strong when she wanted to fall apart. She carries the quiet grief of moments when she needed someone to hold her and no one did. She carries the invisible burden of managing everyone else's emotions while her own sit unattended in a room no one visits. She has been the strong one. The capable one. The one who handles it. The one who doesn't need help. The one who figures it out. And after years of that, her body is tired in a way that sleep doesn't fix. So when a man holds her and doesn't let go, when he pulls her close and stays, when his arms communicate that she doesn't have to move or speak or perform or be anything other than exactly what she is in that moment, something inside her cracks open. Not breaks. Cracks open. Like light through a door that's been closed for too long. She might cry. She might go very still. She might hold on tighter than she expected. She might say nothing at all. But inside, something is shifting. Something is being answered. A question she stopped asking out loud years ago. Will someone just hold me? Without needing me to be okay. Without needing me to explain. Without needing me to be strong. The long hold hug answers that question with the body. Not with promises. Not with words. With arms that stay. With a chest that she can lean into. With the steady rhythm of a heartbeat that tells her nervous system, you can stop now. I'm here. The most powerful thing a touch can do is not excite her. It is not to impress her. It is not to escalate a moment into something physical. The most powerful thing a touch can do is make her feel that she doesn't have to be strong for a moment. That someone else is holding the weight. That she can exhale completely and nothing will fall apart. That is the touch she remembers forever. Now let me tell you something important about everything we just talked about. None of these 7 touches require money. None of them require status. None of them require perfect looks, or a perfect body, or a perfect life. You don't need a luxury car to rest your hand on her lower back. You don't need a 6-figure income to hold her hand with both of yours. You don't need to look like someone from a magazine to press your forehead against hers in a quiet moment. What you need is awareness. The ability to read a moment. To feel what the space between you is asking for. To notice when her energy shifts and respond to it instead of missing it entirely. What you need is emotional intelligence. The understanding that she is not a puzzle to be solved or a gate to be unlocked. She is a person whose nervous system is constantly reading yours. And what yours communicates through touch will determine whether she opens or closes. And what you need most of all is presence. Real, undivided, unhurried presence. The willingness to slow down. To stop performing. To stop strategizing. To just be in the moment with another human being and let your body speak the truth your words can never fully carry. That is what creates deep attraction. Not technique. Not tricks. Not calculated moves. Presence expressed through touch. But I want you to understand something. Touch is only half of the equation. Because women don't just receive signals. They send them. Constantly. In ways most men never notice. If a woman feels attraction toward you, if she wants closeness, if she wants intimacy, she always shows it. Through specific behaviors that are consistent and readable if you know what to look for. Most men miss these signals completely. Not because the signals are hidden. Because no one ever taught them what to look for. They are watching for obvious signs while she's communicating in a language they never learned to read. If you want to understand that language, watch the next video. Because those 6 behaviors will change the way you see every interaction you've ever had with a woman. When things finally start making sense. When patterns become clear. Come back to Lies Unmasked and tell me thank you. Subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.